Bienvenidos, worldwide fans of the planet's hottest entertainment with an edge. Jaime En Fuego here, and joined once again by a very special guest.
Katie Layden.
Yeah, my namesake program, Enfuegotainment, rocking things proper, and in a Memorial Day weekend where it seems like we are actually seeing the return to the movies that they tried so hard to do last August with stuff like Tenet and whatever, but between A Quiet Place 2 doing some gangbuster numbers, we also have another big release, which a lot of people were excited about. I personally wasn't, but we have Emma Stone in the title role in Disney's Cruella.
I want to make trouble. You in?
I do love trouble.
You have a bit of an extreme side. Yes, darling. And what fun that is. She stole my dogs.
I guess we'll just do some overall thoughts right off the bat and say that from a stylistic standpoint, I can appreciate what Craig Gillespie did with this movie. I like pretty much everything of his that I've seen, from Lars and the Real Girl to the Fright Night remake. I, Tonya with Margot Robbie was really good, and to even Mr. Woodcock, that stupid movie with Sean William Scott, aka Stifler, and yeah, but man alive, this movie was all style, no substance, and I still cannot get behind rooting for a villainous character, which, similar to Maleficent, Disney has been very big on lately, and I don't think this film delivered on a lot of its promises about being this, like, 70s London punk rock sort of vibe. I don't know. That's at least overall thoughts from me. What are yours, madam?
Oh my, oh.
Are you going to talk like Emma Stone?
I might, yes. You remember the story of the Hindenburg? It was going to be this big, beautiful experience, and then it just went up in flames. That's what I feel like happened with this movie. You know me, I love metaphors, alright? I made some food metaphors in a few videos previous to today's, but we're going to make a Hindenburg metaphor now. This was awful. It was bloated, and it literally set itself on fire, alright? Like, I actually walked out about 3/4 of the way through the movie. That being said,
you wanted to leave at one point.
I did.
Like, Can we just go? Because this is that bad.
Felt like I felt like I was being like, I had thumb screws that were slowly being turned, and you know, I'm not really giving you details, so let me try and provide you with, you know, a substantial comment here. Like he mentioned, it is difficult to try and take a story where there's a villain and trying to, you know, provide some background and make it a meaningful exploration of like, you know, their humanity. I don't think they succeeded in doing that. That being said, Emma Stone and Emma Thompson were brilliant.
They're both good performance-wise.
It was a really greatly crafted, like, it was very slick. I didn't really get where and why I thought the punk angle would be appropriate. It seemed misplaced. And then, you know, the soundtrack was extraordinarily off-putting. I love music in my movies, okay? I've watched tons of movies where the soundtrack is complimentary. In this instance, I thought it really detracted from the overall experience of viewing this movie.
Yeah, it's a distraction, I thought. Yeah, and it is one big, long music video in a lot of ways, and I'm...
2 hours long.
Over 2 hours.
I don't need that, okay? I don't need that in my life, all right? Like, I'll replay videos of Depeche Mode live from 1984 if I want 2 hours worth of a music video. This was garbage.
In a very hollow story, it has some redeeming qualities, and I've watched a few reviews of other people's opinions about it.
Makeup was good, costuming was absolutely excellent. Yeah. If you are interested in fashion, definitely watch this. Just mute it.
Yeah, it is.
Just mute it. Just put it on mute. You don't need to hear what they're saying, okay?
It is definitely, like Emma Stone is playing dress up, and you can tell she's having a ball.
Emma Stone's beautiful. She's very pretty in the makeup.
And I've always found her endearing, whether it was La La Land or Easy A or Zombieland or whatever else.
Her facial expressions are on point. Like,
she's a good actress from here in the deadly desert of Arizona.
Nobody can make up for the fact that the script was garbage.
It really was.
What the heck happened, guys? Did it get trimmed? There was 6 years worth of time, apparently, from what he told me.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think it was announced in 2013, and then she signed on to star in 2016, but then I would imagine there was various versions of the script and stuff, and so it didn't even go into production until 18 or 19, which is, I mean, this gestation period happens quite a bit, but
That's a long time to have a baby.
Hey,
guys.
Yeah, well,
I can't even imagine waiting 6 years. I would just be like, get it out of me. Let's go.
Well, Zack Snyder had been working on Army of the Dead since he remade Dawn of the Dead, like what, 15, 18 years ago, however long that was. So, I mean, things take time. You have to find financing and, rewrite some scripts and whatever.
But then he had that personal tragedy as well, so that's a mitigating factor. So
yeah, but we're veering off course. So getting back to this film, though, yes, you know that this is a prequel origin sort of story, and we get Emma Stone's Cruella, Estella being her actual name, as we find out.
Cruella is her alter ego.
Yeah, well, as her mother deems it at one particular point. And so this little lady is born with ridiculous hair. And the fact that it seemed in the films like it was a deliberate choice of a very vain, insane woman to have hair like that. But for whatever reason in this, they're like, yeah, she comes out of the womb with half black, half white hair, and I'm just like, okay, that's fine. But she's got some crazy in her, and fighting at school and whatever. And then we fast forward up to where she's basically a grifter. She's like going around small time sort of schemes and stealing and whatever else. But as I would imagine you've seen from the trailers that are very reminiscent of Devil Wears Prada, everybody else has said that. It's very evident and obvious that they were copping, man. I mean, they were... like emulation being the most sincere form of flattery, as they say.
Yeah, but if you don't do anything else to the story,
it was like straight up ripoff, man, in a lot of ways. And
Control V, Control C, copy and paste. That's what we're at. That's where we're at.
in a lot of ways, and yet still you are rooting for her because she has at this point in her life, as she's living with these two dudes who basically, when they were still kids, they kind of brought her in, and who knows how they have electricity and all this stuff. I guess from their
You're not
grifting
supposed
and their
to speculate
scheming
about
and
that.
stuff.
They live in like this giant, like
this
huge warehouse that's like all decked out, and you don't think too hard about that.
Yeah.
It would cost thousands of dollars a month to be able to even have that space.
I guess the petty crime game is working relatively well for them.
We don't need to nitpick, all right?
But yeah, at this point, she still has this timidity within her, as comes out with her interactions with Emma Thompson's character, and so it escalates as time goes on, and she creates her alter ego of Cruella, and she is scorning this Baroness that Thompson plays, and it's long, it's bloated. The soundtrack, I'm a stickler for when they're like, yeah, it's going to be this like 70s punk soundtrack, and then throughout most of the initial part of the film, they're playing 60s songs, like, they're playing The Doors 5 to 1, and they're playing the Zombies, Time of the Season,
only he
and stuff
would know
like that. And then later on, yes, it's still supposed to be the 70s, whatever, and it doesn't feel like that much time has gone by. They're playing Should I Stay or Should I Go, which is from 81, so I don't know, Stranger Things did this with Sunglasses at Night and pissed me off in a similar fashion, so I overthink these things a lot of the time. But one thing I do want to mention, without spoiling stuff here, is the fact that they create a motivation for why there is Cruella's hatred for Dalmatians. And I thought this bit, without saying what it is, that happens early in the film, was absolutely stupid.
Absurd.
It was ridiculous.
Absurd alert.
You see it coming a mile away too. And it was just uninventive and a strange means of creating sympathy for this character.
It was the laziest writing of all time.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that might have been a better...
It's meant to be shocking, but it just did not succeed. Like, this just, for me, did not succeed from a storytelling standpoint as far as originality. But, once again, I could see why some people would enjoy this, and seemingly many do, from just the fact that it is very visually appealing and, dare I say, well directed, but a little too frenetic, especially for a film with pacing that has to deal with a 2-hour plus runtime, as we mentioned once again.
It was way too long. I didn't necessarily, I wasn't galled by the freneticness of it, but
I thought some of the editing was like a little much, and with the especially this almost borderline montage that we get midway through as the emergence of Cruella and her notoriety and her fame as her legend is growing, so to speak, in the middle of the film. I found it personally off-putting and just like a little much, but then again, I feel like that sort of excess is what this film is attempting to epitomize, and so for that reason, there is an audience for this, and I've seen people really positive about it. But from the tone they were going for, sympathizing a nasty, very villainous character,
It's a very PETA-friendly movie now.
Well,
all the dogs are
fact that
CGI.
Yeah, well, they've been doing that at Disney for a while. I mean, after a dog's quest, a dog's journey, whatever the hell that was, where they saw like behind the scenes stuff that got out on like TMZ of them using these real dogs, and that there appeared to be mistreatment, and so a lot of people are going with just they're going with the Jungle Book approach, man. They're just fully digitizing these creatures, but
they looked good. I had no idea they were digital.
Oh yeah,
it has that going for it, so that's nice.
Yeah, and then you don't have to put the duress on these animals, and
right.
And you can get them to do exactly what you want, as opposed to the extensive training process that is often entailed. But yeah, for this movie is so much more just feo, ugly, and just lots of modeling bad than the buenos, the good stuff that I always like to point out. And I always like to just be as objective about this sort of stuff. But yeah, this film, for whatever reason, I don't think I'm the intended audience, and so that probably has a lot to do with it.
Who's the intended audience? A 12-year-old?
Maybe. I mean, despite the fact that it's a PG-13 film, really, and Disney rarely, until recently, ever veered into PG-13 territory. I mean, with their live-action stuff.
I think the intended audience is people who don't know what to be for Halloween, and they really need to know what wig to buy, and this is the marketing that we're getting with this. Yeah, as you said when we were leaving the theater yesterday, you're like, just wait till October, and how many Cruellas we are going to see. Look at my wig! Yeah, oh my god!
It's going to be just like Margot Robbie and Harley.
Yeah, and you mentioned that, and I was hoping you would mention that, because
which is where this derives a lot of its...
Oh, it's so edgy. She's got a lot of dark eye makeup on, and she's a crazy lady. And
inspiration and emulation are two drastically different things, because you do have to bring your own distinctive flavor to it. And I thought the supporting cast, her two, dopey dudes, were fine. But there's also, and I'm glad I remembered this before, cutting this thing off, as opposed to just making it a bitch fest.
They weren't even funny.
There's an interesting gay character that they have in this, who is like doing the Ziggy thing, but they give him barely any screen time.
But that makes you wonder, did they cut it all out?
It's like Disney,
Are they still homophobic?
No, they're totally not, but I do feel like they pandered a little bit with that character and then didn't give them the just due. He was actually
really good. I wanted to see more of him.
And he was only in a couple of scenes in this movie. It's her dopey little sidekick guys that we get the predominance of.
They were actually horrible. They were worse than Tweedledee and Tweedledum.
I feel like they were supposed to be kind of slapsticky.
They weren't even some slapstick jokes land.
And the dude from In the Earth, who gave a great performance in that film, he kind of questions Cruella's motivations and moral structuring and stuff at various times. But I feel like he just kind of he takes a few steps back after being kind of a moral fiber and fabric of things at various points in this film, where he's just like, really, why are we doing this? But then he just backtracks and he's just like, oh, okay, because we're family. This is my family, as she says at one point in the movie, and you're just like, well, as I constantly contend, and you and I were just talking about this the other day, family, you don't have to share a bloodline with somebody.
You can build
for them
a family.
To be your family.
And oftentimes family isn't even, the people that you are related to by blood, you're not close with at all. You build families. I think in the modern age we build our families. But anyway.
Yes, very true, very true. But as far as building something with this project that I found particularly compelling, I can tell they had fun making this movie, but does that mean it's a good movie? No, I'm going to give this 2 out of 5 Fuego Fireballs.
I'm going to take one of his fireballs away.
This is a malo. This is a bad movie in my opinion. I took your fireball away.
It only gets 1 point.
Okay, so you're saying in the one territory. It's in the feo territory. It's an ugly movie. Yeah.
Muy feo. Yeah. Oh, I know Spanish.
Ooh, yes. Rocket proper here in the Deadly Desert. So that is our thoughts, guys, on Cruella. Are we being too harsh on this project? Did you enjoy getting some female insight for this review? Because I thought it was crucial to have the dueling perspectives, because I have definitely seen, the opposite gender to me a little more receptive to this story. But then, as you said, are men more prone to root for Joker or Scarface or whatever, root for the villains? I mean, is it a gender bias sort of thing? Respond with your thoughts in the comments below, but these are important things to ruminate on. And yeah, even though I didn't love either of these new films in theaters right now, theaters are back, and if you are either vaxxed or if you are feeling comfortable about returning to a theater, I think that we are finally ramping back up into that sort of comfortability. And,
there were tons of people in that theater, and he said that as soon as we got there.
It was the most packed I've seen a movie theater since the pandemic started.
And I felt bad because like halfway through it, I was just like, I need to get up and leave. This is really bad.
Even though I wasn't that hot on A Quiet Place 2 compared to the original film, Quiet Place 2 is a immensely superior product in every possible capacity. If you're going out to the theaters this weekend, see that sequel as opposed to this bonkers and not very quality prequel. So I extend a grande gracias to Lady Katherine, obviously, for being a part of the discussion here today. I've been Jaime En Fuego, and you can find more on all social media sectors, primarily Twitter, a little bit of Instagram, and some Facebook stuff here and there. And yes, I like, a share, a subscribe, and as I mentioned already, the commenting stuff. There's going to be a ramped up frequency with stuff to see in the theaters, so look forward to that. And yeah, that's going to be the end of the proceedings for today. So until the real of Ka comes around once more, hasta luego, sen amigos, constant viewers and occasionally readers alike, say thank you for spending some time today, but I'm hopeful we share more of this film palaver sooner rather than later. So if you're up to it, hit up the theaters, but definitely, in my estimation, avoid Cruella de Vil.
And happy Memorial Day, folks. Thank you for serving.
Indeed. Bam.